we've got this dull, dingy, crappy LTZ400 headlight. It's the original that came off of the 2003, and you can see it's pretty foggy and hazy. We could have replaced this. They do still make this headlight. I think it's about $200 to replace the housing, and you can also get an aftermarket one. They're pretty cheap. They're like $50, but you know, a lot of times with aftermarket stuff, it's just kind of jank. In the name of actually restoring this quad, we're going to bring this one back to life. And what we got in this box right here, I think we can get the job done. I'll give you guys a closer look at this headlight. You can see it's pretty well hazed, and this is indeed the one that came with the machine. It's got the white cross piece in there, so it probably was replaced at some point in time, and this came from a white Z400. And you can see I've got the sought after yellow cross piece. This is a discontinued piece. You can't get it with the entire housing or as the piece by itself. It's just discontinued, so Power Sports Nation had this one. It's in pretty good shape. It's got a little nick right there. We are going to restore this as well. We'll get rid of that white one on there. And it is an OEM one. You can see it's got the little Stanley mark, and it probably has an OEM part number somewhere on it. I'm not sure exactly where, but it does say, it looks like Stanley P2571 right there. So it's not a Chinese knockoff one. I wanted to make sure, because if this was a Chinese one, there's no sense restoring the Chinese one when you can just replace it for $50. So let's set this aside, and what I've got in here, this came from Prime. If you guys follow, there's another channel, Cameron Niemola, and he's actually an inspiration for what started my YouTube channel. He does basically the same thing, just really on a more professional level, and I think exclusively with dirt bikes. But he does tremendous work. He's been doing it longer than I have. Like I said, he was the inspiration for what started this. And when I started to open this up, and I decided to open it with you guys, because right on top he had this placed here. It says, "Hey Michael, your order and support of Prime is greatly appreciated. Enjoy the polishing kit, Team Prime." So Prime is Cameron's company. I don't know that Cameron wrote this, or maybe his girlfriend, or I don't know if he has got employees or what, but it's actually written. You can feel it was actually written by pen. This isn't like one of those, fonts that looks like it was handwritten. Somebody actually took the time to write this and put this in here. All the stuff he does in his channel is like super, super premium. So I'm not surprised. Oh, we don't want to show my address there. So we'll just take the, the little packing slip and tuck it underneath. But we've got some stickers in there. You got to love the stickers, man. So already this kit is winning. Make two strokes great again. That's Cameron's my kind of guy, I'm telling you. So I have not gone this far, so I haven't actually opened this up beyond this point. Basically, this is a plastic restoration kit. We've got these really unique, it's in a bag here. And these are premium quality bags, man. I'm starting to get spoiled with like nice things, and I just appreciate the finer things in life. And nice packaging is one of them. I think that's it. Oh, geez. All right, well, address isn't right on top, so we're cool. But we got these cool, unique-looking polishing pads. I don't know if these are unique to Prime or if these are just rebranded. I don't know, but apparently he's got a video showing how to use these, and he says that he spent quite a bit of time, designing the style of buffing wheel and, the compound and cloth and everything, and he finally got a really good compound in his system. So there's two of them here. I think they're the same buffing pad, but you're supposed to use one with compound and one of them you're supposed to keep clean. So maybe he just numbers them so you can remember to separate them. And this comes with a bunch of other stuff too. This is for a 5-inch orbital sander. You can get it for a 6-inch, and they have it for a drill also. These are 320, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, oh my God, and 2000. So we can do quite a bit of sanding with this kit. It's really inclusive. And then this is called, I think it's called a tint coat. There's actually like a black powder in here, and you wet it and rub it onto, if you were doing like plastics or something, and it'll expose any fine like scratches and cracks like that. So you can go back and make sure you're getting all the little scratches and stuff that might show up later. And then in here, this is the buffing compound. Now this kit did come with instructions, but Cameron's got a video online that shows you how to do it. Plus I've got some experience with cleaning up headlights. If you guys remember the blaster headlight on the Ultimate Crispy Chicken Sandwich build, that one came out phenomenal, and it's still in beautiful shape. Instead of using the polishing and rubbing compound technique that I usually use, which takes like a whole bunch of RPMs and effort, we'll give it a shot. So anyways, first thing we need to do is clean off our headlight. Take off this white cross piece. And then we'll pop open our brand new pre-owned yellow cross piece from Power Sports Nation. We're going to do all three of these together. We're even going to clean the white one because just like I needed this one, somebody probably needs this white one too. So we'll polish this one up too, and this will end up in the eBay store. I'm going to try my best not to get anything inside the headlight housings. So I'll take these two corks. I think these will fit in there just to block off so we don't get any water in there. Now, whenever I'm doing any sanding or polishing, if I can get whatever it is that I'm working with in a good, solid position so it's not moving around, it definitely makes it a little bit easier. I've got it good and solid in there. We're not going to be putting too much pressure on this anyways. We just want it to stay in place. We're going to take our 320 grit, which is the most coarse kit, and I've got this Black & Decker 5-inch orbital sander. Put that on there, and this is just plain water, so I'm going to try to keep it nice and wet. We're going to do some wet sanding here. And I'm just going to go to town and take my time, get all of these surface areas of that lens, we'll make it nice and clear, and just work our way down or up to 2000 grit. Probably not going to take too much time on these, maybe like 2 minutes or so. I don't know. I'm just going to do it, okay? Jeez. Now, I imagine it's not going to be until the much higher grits of sandpaper that the headlight really starts looking better. When it's wet, it always looks good, but you'll see when it dries up, it'll get foggy again. But I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any big imperfections because it was actually like rough to the touch. I feel right here, it's still a little rough. I'll probably go back in with the 320 one more time. And then I'm just going to work my way up to the 2000 grit and probably put you guys on a time lapse because it's going to take me, I don't know, a little bit of time. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm keeping the sander nice and flat, and I'm not pressing on it either. Trying to sand it evenly, and you want to make sure that you're keeping the sandpaper clean. And if you see any like clumps or debris or anything, clean it up right away because that'll just ruin the surface that you just got done smoothing out. Just take your time, really. Don't put any pressure on the sander. Let the weight of the sander do all the work. So this is after 2000 grit sandpaper. Honestly, it looks pretty good. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did when we started. And in the middle, there is our yellow cross piece. I did do that as well. There was a gouge in the front. I honestly can't even remember which side it was on, but the gouge came completely out. I just kept making more and more passes, trying not to dig the edge of the sandpaper in to leave any kind of, like sunken portion. And I mean, I can't even detect where it was. So we're looking pretty good. I think this is really where the magic is in these kits, these kind of like sprocket looking buffing pads. So we're going to pop it on the buffer. I do have this little extension here. It just makes the arbor about, I think it's like 3 inches longer. And who couldn't use a little extra length? So we'll throw this buffing pad on there. This extension is actually for the right side. So they make them for right and left side, and basically the whole idea is depending on which way the shaft spins, it prevents the nut from falling off. So it is on the wrong side, but I'm just going to put a jam nut on there to make sure that it doesn't fall off, and we should be fine. Man, I'm actually pretty excited to see how this works out. We've got our polishing block right here. It's compound. I'm just going to hold it on there for maybe like 1 or 2 seconds, just kind of bump it up against there, get some compound on there, and we're going to work it really nice and slow. I'm not going to put much pressure on this thing. If you do too much pressure and you stay in one spot for too long, you'll build up heat and you'll melt the plastic. Man, this thing is throwing lint all over the place. Wow. Already, it's like freaking brand new. I barely had to do anything. Wow, I am impressed. I didn't think that, I mean, I thought it would work, but I didn't think it would work that quickly. It basically looks brand new now, and there is still one more step, basically doing the same thing, but with no compound on the clean wheel. I didn't do the bottom one so that you could see the difference. You can see the haze in the bottom one versus the top. It is crystal clear, and I even went around the edges up here and got the black plastic. You know, we didn't do any sanding with the black plastic. I was actually just going to leave that stuff alone because, you know, it's a little bit intricate up here. You can see this one piece is snapped off here. I actually don't think I did that. I just noticed now that that was broken off. But if we really went ham with like the power tools, you could easily snap stuff off like that. But man, it got it all really easily, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and buff out the bottom here, and then I will throw on the plain wheel, do the same thing, and this headlight will be good to go. The headlight is looking tremendous. Before we take this pad off, let's hit the yellow piece and see how it works on this. This should be pretty easy to do because it's so small. You gotta be careful with these little pieces that you don't catch the edge and have the piece like pulling out of your hands. I've had that happen before. This came out absolutely phenomenal. I haven't even done the last phase of the number 2 buffing wheel with no compound. It basically looks like brand new. I gotta clean up this a little bit. Now the yellow looks very good too. However, I think that I didn't do a very good job of sanding. If you guys can see where the glare is, the little fine scratches. Now that little tint coat thing that came with the kit, if you rub that on here, it'll show you all those little scratches, but I don't even need it. I can see it on there. I think I just didn't do a good enough job sanding. This was actually a pretty difficult piece to do because you're holding it in your hand and using the sander. I was just kind of holding it while doing it, and I kind of got like, I just don't think I did a good enough job. So it's really difficult to put this thing in the vise. I came up with this idea though. I think what I'm gonna do is mount it to a board. We'll bolt it in or screw it in, and that way I can actually, you know, get better access to this thing, and it won't be moving around. The sander's like hitting my hands and stuff. And I think I'm actually going to sand it by hand. You know, I think for most people, the level that we have it at right now would be perfectly fine. Honestly, it's like you really have to get up close. It almost looks like it does after like the first ride, where, you know, you get like a little, you know, swirl marks and stuff from washing it after and stuff, but it almost looks like brand new. So, but since we're doing a full restoration and the rest of the plastics look like brand new, we will go ahead and make this perfect. Mount this on here with the original hardware. Now I can put this in the vise, and it should make it a lot easier for sanding. All right, man. So this came out absolutely beautifully. We've got all of the headlight components laid out right here. This is the original headlight tray. I already brought this back to life. You can see this basically looks like brand new. Now, I didn't do the plastic polisher on this. I actually used this lube tube stuff. It's a multi-purpose lubricant and sealant. It really conditions plastic and rubber really nicely, and it stays on there. You kind of like buff it in. And this was sort of like, it had that white look from being like a little dried out and just from being old. It does a really good job. Of course, I cleaned it first, and I've got new bushings in all of the areas where the bushings need to be. And then these are the original collars or spacers, whatever you want to call them. They were re-zinc coated by Motoblast, so they are basically brand new. So this piece is ready to rock. Of course, our headlight I did do the last phase of the buffing wheel with no compound, and it really did bring it to that perfect shine. It looks really, really good. We've got our headlight bulbs right there. These are the original clips for the back. We can actually pop those in place right now. These are the original ones. I sent them to Moto Blast, and these were re-zinc coated. If you guys have any stuff, any metal stuff to get re-zinc coated, he can do it in blue, which is silver like this, yellow or black, and bring them back to basically brand spanking new. And then here's our plastic piece. It came out really, really nice. So I just really needed to do a little bit more sanding to it. You can see it's got a beautiful gloss now. Again, basically looks like a brand new piece. That will pop in place right here. And I've even got, these are the original screws. I put them in the ultrasonic cleaner, and you can see the original zinc shows up really nice. So we can actually screw these in place right now. And you guys may have noticed the bench has a new cover on it. It's like a rubber cover. Really nice for working on. It's oil resistant and gas resistant. The last cover that I had on here, it kind of like was swelling up in the middle and stuff. And I think it was not resistant to certain chemicals. And then this is actually a tray for like a dog kennel. And I thought it was perfect. It's like a heavy duty plastic and it's textured, got a little bit of grip. I thought that'd be perfect for stuff like this, just keeping it organized. And then when we're building engines, it's going to be a really nice tray for that too. Man, this thing looks awesome. I will have the links to the tray and the bench topper in the description below because I really do like it. Anyways, let's get this thing together. We'll put our headlight housing in the tray. This just slides right in here between the rubber grommets. We've got original hardware right here. Thank God for Power Sports Nation because I couldn't find my original stuff. And since I had that bolt bag from the 2005 parts quad that they had, I did have the correct hardware. Threw it in the ultrasonic cleaner and it still has the original black zinc on it. These really just need to be snugged up. And then with those two in there, the headlight can tilt back and forth. It's got the adjustability. There is a third one that goes in the bottom, and that one allows you to adjust it. All right, now we'll flip this over and get our cables in place. Throw down a microfiber because now I'm going to be freaking weird about not scratching this thing up. So we've got the original wire harness right here. It's actually pretty nice. At least it's the one that came with it. I don't know if it's the original or not. And I'm going to take the lube tube and put it all over basically all of the rubber and the cables. I've been doing this with all of the rubber and stuff that I'm reusing. Again, this stuff is just a really good conditioner. And it's also a sealer. And it helps keep it clean too. Like dirt and stuff doesn't stick to it when it's on here. It's just a win-win. Good for putting the sealer on there because we don't want any water getting inside of our headlight housing. We'll pop our bulbs in here. We're going to put a little bit of dielectric on the back of those bulbs. One of you guys actually recommended this truck light. It's supposed to be very, very sealing and corrosion resistant. Somebody recommended I use this on the Corvette actually because we know the Corvette is a freaking electrical nightmare. These are spring loaded. Push them in and twist. Oh, come on, you bastard. All right, that one's in there. We'll make sure this boot is good and seated. We want to make sure it's watertight. And then I saw in the service manual that these get tied up like so. There's actually supposed to be a little loophole here. I guess this one, it was missing, but I've got this kit that has little wire loopholes, wire clips, and I've got this one here, and I think this will work. We'll give it a shot. It might be a little too tight. Oh, took it. All right. Nice. Well, I think it's safe to say that the plastic polishing kit from Prime does a pretty good job. If you guys are interested in that kit, I will have that linked in the description below. I don't have any association or affiliation with Prime or Cameron Niemela, but the dude's got great videos. And if you're looking to support his channel, I definitely recommend going over and checking out the products that he has. So anyways, now that this is done, we can set it aside and put it in our finished pieces pile, which I don't know that I'm going to put it in this box. But I've slowly been building things. If you look in here, I've got the linkage all rebuilt. That is vapor blasted by James at Motoblast. And if you look at the bolts in there, all the hardware has brand new zinc coating. All of the brake lines are all refinished. I got them all looking brand new. If you come over here, we've got these beautiful hubs, spindles, all that stuff. Has new bearings and stuff in there. Basically doing all the pre-work and stuff. I've got the carrier bearings in there. Just getting stuff as built as I can get. I think right now I'm just going to take this and set it right here so it's good and safe. And over here, man, we've got our cases. You're not going to believe this. They are actually repaired. They're all welded up. Now we're going to look at that in a second, but before we do that, I've got boxes and boxes of brand new OEM parts. I've got tons of zinc coated bolts from Motoblast, and we've got a whole bunch of powder coated stuff from Bonehead Performance. So I want to lay that stuff out and show you guys because it is really cool to see it all lined up. Man, I don't know if there's anything cooler than a whole bunch of damn bolts lined up in rows. Wow, that really shows where my head's at. But seriously though, there is something to be said about how satisfying it is when all of these bolts are laid out looking like brand new. Let's have a close look at these things, man, because these bolts are not new. In fact, all of these pieces are the original hardware, either from the 2003 Z400 or from the parts 2005 Z400 that came from Power Sports Nation. Most of it is from the 03, and basically what I did is I went through, and if any of the bolts were like too rusted or really the rotten ones, I swapped them out for the newer ones on the 05, and those ones weren't just newer, they were just in way, way better condition, because this 2003, it sat outside literally for like 20 years. So, but yeah, most of them are the originals. I think this is the swing arm bolt from the 03. It's got basically, there's 3 different colors of zinc here. So the silver is actually called blue zinc. The yellow is called yellow zinc. It's kind of like a gold. And then of course we have the black zinc. The black zinc is actually, if you look closely, it's like a dark, dark olive green. It looks really awesome, and we did a bunch of stuff, not just bolts. We've got like the front disc guards back here and in the front. This is for the steering stem. I think that's like a wire routing little bolt thing that bolts on. We've got the rear brake. Man, that came out beautifully. The little weights that go on the end of the handlebar and the shifter. I already went ahead and put a brand new OEM shifter boot right there. Looks awesome, dude. Basically a brand new piece. And that is a steel shifter. The 03 had a steel shifter, and then I think in 04 or maybe it was 05, they upgraded to an aluminum one. So we're keeping it like the 03. I know there's going to be somebody that asks, oh, how long does it take me? You must have so much time on your hands. It takes about an hour to lay all this stuff out usually, and that is about what it took this time. But it's worth it, man. It just looks so cool all laid out. We've got the original toolkit here, and what I did is normally these are blue zinc, so they'd be silver. I did them in yellow zinc because I think it would be like one of those little tiny things, like a special edition, had yellow zinc on the toolkit, like a stupid little thing that only like the purists and the people that are obsessed, like myself, know. We've got the shock parts. These are the little collars, the locking jam nuts, more shock pieces there. Got some brake components. A lot of black zinc on this bike. These collars, you can see all this stuff looks like brand new. There's the lug nuts. All these other nuts and hardware. It's amazing that all these bolts have been sitting outside, most of them anyways, for 20 years. More shock components over here. And these are the oil lines over here. James from Moto Blast, he vapor blasted them, and then he actually was able to zinc the ends. Really, really awesome. These literally look like brand new lines, and I got lucky that the line itself is in really good shape. I was afraid that they might be like dry rotted, but they're good and pliable. Basically got brand new lines there. These are for the swing arm. And then back here are the vapor blasted parts, again from Moto Blast. If you guys are wondering, it is it's njvaporblast.com is their website. Really awesome work. Look, this basically I've already started to assemble some stuff. So this was the rear master cylinder from the 05. The one from the 03 was completely seized and pitted. It was unusable. But this is the original Z400 one from the 05. I've got some new OEM parts in there, brand new Suzuki rebuild kit, and then of course some zinc plated parts from James. So all this stuff is not just entirely me doing this stuff. You know, we've got Moto Blast doing all this work. We've got companies like Partzilla stepping in and helping out with OEM parts, and then of course the vapor blasting. And together with my assembly tactics, we've got basically a brand new rear master cylinder. We've got the front spindles. So the spindle was vapor blasted, and then the actual the pin it's got brand new blue zinc on there. I had to press that out and then press it back in when I got it back. He can't zinc it while it's together. Or maybe he can, but I didn't do it that way. And then the linkage. This looks so cool, dude. All rebuilt by yours truly. I've even got the plastic skid from the factory on there. This thing was like blown to bits. It basically was not even existent. And honestly, I can't imagine that any of these last very long. I mean, you hit one rock and that's just going to get blown away. But it's cool for like a factory build to have all the OEM stuff on there. And you can see the new zinc on the bolts. Man, it just looks so good. And we've got, I think it's a Pivot Works kit that I put in there. So we've got all new bearings and bushings. The shock I need to rebuild. Well, not rebuild. I just need to spring it up and everything. I have a new bumper for it, and I just don't know where the hell it is. So I'm trying to find the bumper before I put the spring on. We've got the motor mounts. This is our little clutch actuator, the other spindle, and man, the cases. Holy crap. So there it is, dude. It actually looks pretty decent if you ask me. So I can't lie. I did not weld this. I went and met up with my buddy Shane, and we got the job done. If you guys remember, I chopped up 2 cases to make one good one. This is the before with all the chamfered edges, and luckily we could bolt the section together to make tacking at least a little bit easier. Now, I did invest in a new welder. I was going to attempt to do this myself, but after some practice, I just didn't think that would be the best idea. So that's why I took it to Shane, who's a professional welder. Came out pretty good, man. Dude, I'm legit like astonished. I really just didn't think it was gonna. I didn't either. It's so close, like find a welder. I was like, oh no. Yep, so there it is. It cleaned up really, really nicely. I had to do some machining in this back area because we basically just piled on the weld. And really, my only concern at this point is going to be whether or not it holds oil, but I think it will. If you look on the inside there, the welds on the bottom are really nice. It gets a little bit messy on the inside there because we couldn't get in there. But Shane did a tremendous job. I think a big part of the reason this came out so nice is because all of the time spent cleaning. So, you know, it was vapor blasted. I put it in the oven for 8 hours. I put it in the ultrasonic cleaner for, I think, 4 hours and just made this thing super, super clean because if you've ever dealt with casts, especially engine cases, aluminum, they hold on to oil and stuff. It's porous and you get a lot of impurities and stuff. It's just usually does not work out that well. Now, I don't know if you saw this piece of crap when we got it, but this Z400, it was looking pretty sad. And as you can imagine, in rebuilding things like this rear master cylinder, a lot of stuff just couldn't be saved and it's got to be replaced. And that's why I'm super excited that behind me, we've got the most OEM parts that I've ever had for any project. I mean, good night. Is this a lot of pieces? And this isn't even everything. We've got the 2 brand new tires downstairs. We've got brand new plastics. We've got a ton of OEM parts, literally thousands and thousands of dollars. This is the most in-depth This is the deepest I've ever gone on a rebuild of a four-wheeler. I mean, holy crap. I usually do a lot of aftermarket stuff, and aftermarket's cool too. We'll look at the parts. It's more interesting. But yeah, aftermarket is great too, but there is just something about OEM parts that's so cool, especially like when you've got them laid out like this, and the SGP logo is there. Oh, dude, Suzuki Genuine Parts, very, very cool. Even an OEM gasket set. This is the OEM gasket set, man. I've never had the luxury of doing that before. Well, actually a little bit with the 250R, but not like the entire set. Holy crap. Got the OEM oil filter, an OEM spark plug, OEM grips. Even got the OEM warning labels. I know. Why are we putting them on there? But, you know, come on, guys. We want it to look like it came off the showroom floor. Man, it is just so cool. I can't express. I'm like a kid in a candy shop with this stuff. Here is the OEM service manual and even the OEM owner's manual. How freaking cool is that? Just like it was from the factory, man. It's going to be so cool. We've got an OEM air filter, airbox lid. Oh, man. And then all of this stuff in these bags, this is like a mix of OEM and vapor blasted and zinc coated stuff. So I'm trying to organize because there's so many freaking parts here. It's been kind of tough. Like this here is the front master cylinder. This is the one, I think it was from the 05. All vapor blasted up by James at Moto Blast. And then you can see, got the OEM, got some OEM parts in there, like the rebuild kit and stuff, just so that when I go to put this stuff together, it's nice and organized and I'm not searching. And this is the rear caliper. Believe it or not, this whole bag, look at all these freaking parts in here, man. There's so many parts. This is the rear caliper. And the reason there's so many parts in here is because the parking brake is like, really, there's a lot of little pieces with that. So that's the rear caliper there. This is the starter, the original starter, dude, from the 03. I broke it down. The ends are vapor blasted by James at Moto Blast. The housing was re-zinc coated by Moto Blast. And we've got a brand new, if you see there's a brush kit in there, it's a Suzuki OEM part. New O-rings for it, the whole starter kit, basically, right there. So we'll have basically like a brand new OEM starter. I'm actually not sure what's in there. We've got new cables, all Suzuki Genuine Parts, man. Freaking awesome. Now, as you can imagine, all these OEM parts, they're not cheap. And that's why I'm so excited to announce that Partzilla has hopped on board with Project Z400, and they sent all of these OEM parts. And I am so stoked because, I mean, we're literally talking, this is like thousands of dollars worth of parts. I mean, it is not cheap doing these builds. I'm particularly excited about what's in these boxes right here, man. Who doesn't like a good box? So in this case, down here, believe it or not, is a brand new set of Suzuki Z400 cases. Now, I know I just got done showing you guys that we repaired the ones from 03, which is just insane. But just in case we have issues with that, because there is the possibility that the cases are slightly warped or something and the transmission doesn't go freely. I don't think that's going to happen, but just in case, Partzilla was kind enough to send a brand new set of cases. Of course, these will be going back if we don't use them. But in the scenario that, you know, we put the cases together and there's some kind of issue, we'll have the brand new set right here so that we can swap it over. And that is just awesome, man. I got to give a huge shout out to Partzilla. Just going above and beyond, really, because they didn't even have to send these. This could have been one of those things where it's like, okay, we'll test the cases, and if you need them, then we'll send them. But, you know, this way we can keep things moving. And then also up here, we've got a rear. This is a brand new taillight. I think this is a water pump. And in here, huge come up. If you guys remember, we had that old, crusty, grody carburetor. It was too crusty, man. There was corrosion and stuff in it, and it was just beyond repair. So we've got a brand new OEM one from Partzilla. Brand new carburetor, man. I've never had a brand new OEM carburetor, ever. I've had brand new Keans and stuff, like aftermarkets, but never a brand new one from the factory. Just really, really special. I'm glad I can share this with you guys because this is the kind of stuff that, like, as a kid, man, I just dreamt about this stuff. I never thought that this would be a reality, that I'm building a Z400 literally from all brand new OEM parts and refinished. Basically everything is brand new. It's just, it's like the ultimate Lego kit. This is awesome. Seriously, though, this is like the coolest part of the build process, where we've just got parts laid all over the entire garage. We've got all the powder-coated stuff over here, all the new OEM parts over here. We've got the frame over here. We've got tires back there. We've got all of the OEM hardware refinished over here. We've got cases. We've got suspension. Like, literally everything to build a 2003 Suzuki Z400. I just think that is so cool. And I'm so glad that I can share it with you guys, because this is, like, literally my life's work has amounted to me being able to build a four-wheeler from 20 years ago. I don't know what that really says about my accolades in my life, but you know, whatever. And how could I forget about the frame? The frame looks freaking beautiful. So all the stuff that is powder coated was done by Bonehead Performance Coatings. They are my local powder coater, and thank God, because they do tremendous work. If you guys are interested to see how they do their work and the level of professionalism, I do have a video where I went to their shop and we did this stuff for the Tri-Z. Anyways, it looks beautiful. There is a little sparkle in this paint, and in the sun, it really pops. Here's where our gussets are. If you guys remember, we welded those in, and I think they look pretty factory. I don't think you'd be like, oh, did somebody weld that in there? It looks pretty much like that is the way that it came. So that should strengthen up these upper strut mounts. The frame just looks really, really good. Dude, I wish you guys could see it in person. If you come over here, one of the nice services that they offer at Bonehead Performance is that they will mask off your VIN so that you can actually read it. And there is a clear coat over that, so it's not like it's going to rust. But if you've ever had anything powder coated before, powder coating is really thick, and usually, most times, you can't read the VIN number again. You'd have to take the powder coat off. And then up here is the fuel tank. Cleaned up, amazing. This is the original one from 2003. Cleaned it up, polished it up, and it looks basically brand new. Got the original fuel cap on there. And then down here, I've got a brand new aftermarket OEM replica, and it is a really nice one. Sometimes fuel petcocks are kind of weird, or like the nozzles aren't as big as factory, so like it wouldn't have the right amount of fuel flow. But this one's actually pretty nice. And the rest of the parts from Bonehead Performance, we've got matching blue pegs. I thought that was a little bit more retro. Got our engine upper motor mount. We've got the rear hubs. I already pressed in the zinc coated studs. Really looks phenomenal. And then the front hubs I already built. You can see the little spacers were re-zinc coated by Motoblast. The powder coating by Bonehead Performance. Got the original studs, man, with zinc coating. And then I've got a brand new aftermarket rotor on here. All these bolts were done by Motoblast. And of course, we've got new seals and bearings. Basically, brand new hubs. Dude, they just look awesome. Really going the extra mile for you guys on this one. Instead of just powder coating over everything, like on the back, having the separation and the contrast from the hardware, I think really makes it look like it came that way from the factory. Here are the lower A-arms. This is called Rally Silver, this color. Really, really nice. And I will have to run my tap through where these are custom. If you remember, we cut those, we lopped off the ball joints. I'm going to have to run the tap through that one more time, just make sure everything is nice and smooth. Our fender brackets up here. Here's our front bumper. And these are the heel guards. I really do think we made a good choice here in coating them in the Rally Silver. It looks like they're made of steel and then painted, which is kind of how they were back in the day. So the whole idea was to keep this thing looking retro. I didn't think the bare aluminum looked just quite right. I thought the blue looked kind of weird. A lot of people weren't happy with that. I think the silver is going to look really good. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below. And then again, here are the shocks with that little bit of a metal sparkle. I could have just made them yellow, but I want everything on this to be just a touch of special to make it like it's a special edition. And the metal flake in that original yellow color from Suzuki looks really good. And then over here, we've got the engine covers. We've got a factory color, and then adding a little bit of bronze accents. I think that'll give it a nice touch for the special edition. And then bear with me, guys. This was a color they had on the wall, and it's like a flat, like steel blue. I just have a feeling that it's going to look really good. Okay, so we're going to try it out. I just think, I don't know why. I was looking at it in the showroom at Bonehead, and I was like, man, I just think it's going to look really good. We can always change it, but I think that steel blue color on the engine build is really going to set it apart and make it special. Now, I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, a lot of what I call pre-work, basically just stuff that I do before a build so that when D-Day comes, everything should go together nice and smoothly, at least as smoothly as it can go. But when everything is laid out like it is right now, it's a prime opportunity to do more pre-work and basically match up like all these bolts. I mean, if we just have them in bags, it'll take forever as you're building things, being like, oh, where does this bolt go? What bolt do I need for this? That takes forever. So this is a premium time to take the bolts and, like, for example, of the frame. It's a great time to take your hardware and get it in place. And that way, when it comes time to build, you're not like going all over the place and looking around for stuff. It'll all be right there. Now, in areas that are threaded, like up here where the steering stem mounts, sometimes when you get stuff back from powder coating, either you'll have a little bit of powder coat in there, or you might actually, the threads might be a little jimmied up just from the sandblasting. It just makes the edges a little bit rough sometimes. Now, a lot of places like Bonehead, they do mask these areas off. They'll plug them so that powder coat doesn't get in there. But I think it's really the blasting that can make it a little bit rough. Now, sometimes they thread right in. We'll see how this one goes. Not looking like that one wants to thread in. This one I think is okay. But regardless, what I like to do is run through what's called a thread chase. You guys can see I have one right here. See if that'll focus on there. But basically, this will go through and just clean up the threads. It's not a tap. It's called a thread chase. Now you can use a tap. So in some cases, the thread chase just won't get the job done. And what I will do is run a tap through. I know some people are like, oh, don't run the tap through there, because even though there's threads in there, yes, this can take new material out. The key to using the tap, though, is if you do it, you really should do it by hand, and just let it glide through. Don't put pressure down or back, because you don't really want it to cut. The whole thing is you just want it to clean the threads. So if you have to, you can use this. I've gotten away with that and honestly never had a problem. And you should do it by hand, but if I'm being honest, guys, I usually use a driver. It's just way quicker, and you do run the more of a risk of cross-threading. It's true. So just what is what it is, but ain't nobody got time for that. And let's see. Boom. Like that of butter. And then the other thing that you may be confronted with when you're dealing with powder coating is something like this. Oh, shit. Bolt doesn't fit. And that's just because powder coating is a thick coating. So something you got to deal with when it comes to tight tolerances. You just got to file out or clean up the inner bolt hole so that bolt fits. Got the greatest tool in the world when it comes to this stuff. It's actually one of my porting tools. It's really cheap though. I think you can get this whole tool on Amazon for like 50 bucks. And then a little cutting burr. It's like $10 for a kit. So for 60 bucks, if you've got an air compressor. If you don't have an air compressor, man, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, this makes it really good. I mean, this one would be easy to get, but sometimes like in little areas, having the little tool to get in there really helps out. So basically, the burr, you can use a little sanding drum too if you want. I just find that the burr works really quickly. But this will just take that shit right out of there. My eye! Just kidding. Probably should be wearing safety glasses though. Usually doesn't need too much. There we go. No problem. Well, I've got a serious amount of time-consuming work to do here. I got to clean out all of these bolt holes and match up as much hardware as I possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then when we're finished, I've got a couple new parts that I want to show you for the project. And our graphics came in, the custom graphics. They look freaking awesome. I want to show those to you guys before I let you go. It's amazing how long it takes to do this process. No joke. I'm going to say probably a solid 2 hours just getting all these bolts in the frame. Just making sure that I'm matching up all of the OEM bolts in the original locations. I tried to even, you see there's black zinc, silver zinc, and there was some yellow zinc stuff. I tried to do the original OEM colors basically by looking at pictures of Z400s and then using Partzilla's website. Most times if you click on the part number, they'll actually have a picture of the part. So you can see right here, nut. And I've got them right here. Now, these were brand new from Partzilla, so it actually has the part number on there. But because they have those pictures, I was able to do that with most of the bolts and nuts. The other thing that's really nice is on some of them, not all of them, but some of these bolts, you can see it actually has a ruler, so you can measure how long it is. Now, something I noticed in the Suzuki part numbers, at least, like the 625A, that means it's a 25 millimeter. So you could actually take a pair of calipers and measure the bolt and basically just figure out exactly where they all go. But yeah, doing all that little matching up it took a while. I've got like the steering stem bushing down there. Basically the frame is ready to go. I got little stuff like this oil reservoir tank in place. All the rubber pieces on the frame, they're all in place. If you come over to the gas tank, I got the hardware on there, put the new rubbers in the gas tank. Just stuff like that. If you come over to the A-arms, if you guys remember, the custom lower ball joints are now installed. Pretty trick, looks OEM. I'm really happy with that. And I got the ball joints on the top here too. Those are brand new. They're actually Arctic Cat for a DVX400. They're the same exact part number. Well, it's different part number, same exact part. And then, of course, we got the little brake hose stays on there. I've got the disc guards on the hubs, all the hardware in the front spindles. Started putting the shock together. I think I'm just going to order the new bumper for that because I have no idea where it is. I thought it'd be really cool to take the headlight that we restored and put it in place on the frame with the front plastics to get an idea what it's going to look like. And plus, this poppin' yellow with that bright blue, I'm telling you, man, the color contrast is awesome. So let's get a look at it and build this thing. All right, so I've got my handy dandy schematic right from partzilla.com. You can see they've got the little part numbers and everything, and it kind of gives you a little breakdown of how things go together, because it can be really easy to forget how this stuff goes. The Partzilla website literally has every make and model on there. So we've got these two little brand new clips. They're gonna go right here in the middle. All this stuff is brand new from Partzilla. The screws and stuff, the Phillips heads and stuff, I didn't want to reuse those and have them vapor blasted and stuff because they tend to get jimmied up. They're using screws like this for the headlight. All right, we'll drop our headlight in place. Man, it's so nice. It basically looks brand new. And I'm going to use a JIS screwdriver on these. That stands for Japanese Industrial Standard. Slightly different than Phillips. If you were looking at it, you'd never really notice the difference, but the bite on them is just a lot better with the Japanese hardware. A lot less likely that the Phillips head will slip and jimmy them up because ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, man. Dude. Literally brand new. Wow. That is like the iconic Z400 front end, man. Awesome. We got to get this on the quad. I always loved the look of the Z400. It's just such a sharp looking machine. I'm going to put the fender brackets in place just so that it's actually lined up the way it would be once we're all finished. Let's put the bumper on too, just so that we can get a contrast of the silver, blue, and the yellow. Get the full scope of the color scheme on this thing. This actually isn't the bumper that came with this Z400. It is an original from an 03, but I bought it off of eBay. The one that came on this quad was pitted and it had some dents and stuff in it. It just wasn't worth it. I think I paid like 15 bucks for this one. I just got it powder coated and it literally looks like brand new. The dents just, it ruined it, man. But it is the 03. 03 was steel, and then I think in 05, they upgraded it to aluminum, but I wanted it to be the original steel one. Plus, it's probably a little bit stronger. We'll take a closer look at the headlight in a second, but first, what I want to do is show you these custom graphics. They came in from graphicsproducer.com. They're freaking awesome. All right, now, spoiler alert, I did already open this up and I looked at them. If you follow me on Instagram, I did post some pictures up there. Looks phenomenal, and you can see they made some custom graphics for me. Pretty awesome, dude. This company, when I bought the original replica ones right here, I just was really impressed with the packaging and everything and the quality. Just the overall delivery was really nice of it. And the company actually reached out to me. They watched my video. I had no affiliation with them whatsoever. Just thanking me for, purchasing from them and saying the nice stuff that I did about them. And sure enough, they could make custom ones. So instead of running the OEM graphics, we're going to run these bad boys. Same package, just a little bit bigger. Just really, really professional, and I really appreciate that. So let's pop these bad boys open, man. I'm telling you. Oh, they're freaking awesome. I got some extras in there. These are actually the dealer stickers from my KX250X from Scott Power Sports. But anyways, yeah, so this is, oh man, is that sick or what? So I designed these and sent my design to graphics producer, and he printed them up, matched the yellow perfectly with the Suzuki. And that's actually why I want to put one of these decals on the quad before we take a look at the headlight. I think it's going to look really cool to do like a before and after and have the decals and stuff. And then they made me some custom decals. They actually made me a ton of stickers that aren't in this package. But right now, I want to focus. Man, is that freaking sweet or what? Freaking holographic. Awesome. But yeah, I want to focus on the actual graphics though. So like I said, I already opened these up, but these were packaged very nicely. And there they are, man. Oh, designed by Michael Sabo. Quad Sport, special edition, baby. Got my logo in the background there, and it's otherwise just like the factory ones. I'll pull the factory ones out in a second, and we can do a side-by-side comparison. And a lot of people, they wanted the big 400, just like the classic quad racer on the rear fender. It's modeled after the 1989. It's gonna look awesome, man. I do have a rendering, and I think it should come out pretty similar to that. Okay, so here is the OEM replica graphic. I just felt like it was a little bit bland. It's kind of plain. The gray, like it just doesn't pop the way that I wanted it to. And what I did is I changed up a couple things. So we basically have the same design. We've got the halftone in the background, but I changed the colors. We've got the Suzuki blue up here, and it actually fades to the powder blue in the back, which will match the 400. I've got the dark, it's the dark blue like this, and it fades to the powder blue. Same thing in the graphic back here, very, very subtle. And then I changed the Quad Sport from this square font to a more classic, sort of like a cursive that they used on the 89 Quad Sport. And then I have my little touch on there because I did design these, and I can't forget about myself, you know. And then, of course, I kept the Suzuki emblem pretty much exactly the same, but otherwise I mimicked it, and same exact size and everything, besides, you know, the outline of the lettering, but it should look like a special edition. And then we've got these I designed also. This is the original. It's just a little thing that says Z400. Again, pretty bland. This is what will go, I call this the kicker, basically like where your boot rests on the side of the fenders. It would just say Z400 there. Now it's going to say Z400 Special Edition, little bit bigger, but not too much bigger. And then the front fender, this was a discontinued logo, not this particular one, but the OEM style one. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it wasn't in the replica kit either. But this is the one I want to put on. I want to show you how closely this yellow matches the plastics, and it'll just look really nice next to that new headlight. Now, if you guys do want to make your own custom graphics, you can hit up Graphics Producer on their website, graphicsproducer.com. You can also use my promo code, SABO10, you'll get 10% off. They can design them for you. You don't have to be like a graphic designer and actually design them like I did, but you can, and they will work with you. Just super professional. I was really impressed. You know, I've worked with graphic designers before with my graphics, and a lot of times it can be difficult. You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat when you do graphic design, and sometimes I would send my designs and they come back and they need clarification and stuff. Not saying anything bad about those companies, but these guys were so professional. I sent them my design, and they immediately knew exactly how to make any little changes and stuff like that. It was just really good experience. Anyways, let's go ahead and put this in place. It's going to go right here in the original location. I just want to take a little bit of Windex, make sure we're clean. These are brand new plastics, but you never know if they use like a polish or something on them from the factory that would affect the way the sticker sticks on there. I'll give it just a little bit of soap. That little texture in the glue backing on this sticker is actually so that air bubbles won't get trapped under there, and you're less likely to get bubbles. That looks pretty good right there. I'm actually planning to get the graphics on this machine before we do the final assembly. You know, usually the graphics are the very last thing that I do, but I think it'll be really cool in my aerial photo with all the parts laid out on the driveway to actually have the fender decals on. I think it'll look more basically like a toy set, but in real life size, all laid out in the driveway. Oh yeah, man, that looks awesome. And one last thing, we've got this original OEM Suzuki decal. The thing was freaking $70. It's the OG one. I think they only did it in 03, and then they switched it to like a flat sticker. This one is actually like a bubble. It's got like some depth to it. I was looking at pictures. It looks like it goes about maybe an inch below the top. I only get one chance with this bastard. It really makes you wonder, like at the factory, Was there some guy just like lining up every single one of these? Just want to make sure it's right in the center. All right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Now, we've got a battle of new versus old here. This is the Yoshimura pipe that we opened up in a previous video. It is brand new old stock. It was manufactured, I think, in 2006. Crazy how this thing is still in the brand new packaging. And what we have over here is a brand new Yoshimura exhaust. This is a full system. Well, let's just go ahead and open it up. So basically, the reason I got another Yoshimura exhaust is because that other one is just too rare to be making it into a rider. And I do plan to ride this machine, and I'd hate to see that thing get dinged up and stuff. You know, it just doesn't make sense. So I wanted to stick with Yoshimura, so I just got a fresh one. And what's really cool about this one is, oh, come on, bastard. It's a full system, and it was actually less expensive than just that slip-on was, you know, because they actually produce this one still. I guess that makes a big difference. No exhaust shield. Son of a bitch. Check it out, man. Attention installer, scan the QR code or type the link below into your web browser for instructions on installation, warranty, and maintenance. Pretty cool. There it is, man. 03 to 2014 RS2. I think the other one is the RS3, which is kind of interesting. The newer one is a lower number. Very nice heavy-duty plastic. Whew, man, why is new exhaust so cool? Oh, shit. You know, I just had this feeling that it wasn't going to come with the exhaust shield. In the picture, it shows an exhaust shield, and it's like a different, it doesn't look like the OEM one. So I was like, you know, if it had the OEM one in the picture, I'd be like, yeah, they want you to take the OEM one off and swap it over. But because they had the picture of the other one, I'm like, you know, maybe it'll come with one. And yeah, so it didn't. And I haven't refinished the one from the Z400 because it's like seized in place. So we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, but we definitely want to get an exhaust shield for the header. It is a very nice header though. It feels a really good quality. It also does have spark arresters, so we can quiet it down if we want to, because I really didn't want this thing to be super loud. But it's just a nice exhaust, and now I don't have to be feeling bad if I get a ding or dent in it, because that other one, man, it's just super rare. I would feel terrible if we destroyed it. So this is actually gonna go in the eBay store. If the person that wins it wants me to sign it, I will do that, of course, to give them a shout out in video, or it can just be a normal item too. All right, and now we have one last piece, and it might be the coolest piece of all the Z400 parts that I have. And we're actually not even gonna use it. This is packaged really nice, and it's heavy as shit. Whoa, dude. Maybe I will run this. This is heavy as a f***ing rock. Holy shit, man. This is a billet swing arm for the Z400, DVX400, or KFX400. Holy crap. This thing is hardcore. God damn, man. Super heavy duty. Holy hell, man. This thing is rock solid. It is a solid piece of billet aluminum. There's no welds anywhere on this, and it's supposed to be super, super strong. And they've done testing with some guys, I think it was GNCC Racing, and they've been beating the piss out of these things, and they can't break them. So if you're a Z400 guy, the swing arm is one of the weak points on the Z400. So they've addressed that. It has the slots to run the 03 or the newer style rear carrier. And here is the backing plate. I'm not going to take this out because I'm actually sending this back. I just really wanted to show it to you guys because first off, that it's available. I didn't even know they made a thing like this. And I kind of wanted to like show it off a little bit, but you know, it's a little bit too far from factory to be running on our, you know, factory special edition Z400. And I also, for what I do, I don't need this heavy duty swing arm, and the added weight would just, it wouldn't make sense for me to use this, I don't think. And it also does not have skid plate mounts. So you have to use like the rotor style. And I really want to use, I mean, you could probably Actually, that isn't even a reason to not get it, because you can just drill and tap for a traditional swing arm. So that's, or a skid plate. So that's not even really a reason why I wouldn't get it, but it is really, really cool. You can get these from Zoom Zoom. I will have it linked in the description below, and I guarantee if you get one of these bad boys, you would never have to worry about breaking a swing arm ever again. Hopefully this can hold you guys over until the rest of the parts for the Z400 come. We've got one more piece for the engine on the way. We're gonna have to get that exhaust shield figured out, and the wheels are getting clear Cerakoted, because the wheels came out so nice, and I think they're factory anodized. And because of the steel inserts and then the aluminum, I don't think we could anodize them. So we're getting them clear Cerakoted. They should be here soon, but I definitely want to have them in that pan shot of, you know, everything laid out on the garage or on the driveway. So hopefully sooner rather than later. But man, you can see the color scheme looks freaking awesome. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing for more content like this. That helps me out tremendously. I also started a second channel called Michael Sabo Extra. I've noticed that my core audience is right here on YouTube, and I get a lot of complaints that I'm not posting enough videos. There's too big of gaps in between videos, and people are like, you know, we just want update videos, would be cool too. Without getting into specifics of the algorithms of YouTube and stuff, it doesn't make sense to mix all those videos in. So basically the Michael Sabo Extra channel is going to not replace Instagram, but replicate that. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I do post updates and stuff on there, so that when you're waiting to see what's going on, you know, there's stuff there. But I think it'll be better to post that on YouTube. It's basically going to be update videos. They won't be as clean cut and polished with all the editing and stuff like on this main channel. Just letting you guys know what's going on in the shop, and there'll probably also be some unrelated content in there as well that might not be, you know, about building quads and dirt bikes, but, you know, just stuff going on in my life. So it is going to be Michael Sabo Extra. Right now there are no videos on that channel, but I do plan to start posting pretty soon. So if you guys could head over there and subscribe to it, that would help me out tremendously. And then of course, when I do start posting, you'll be notified. So I appreciate that. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm ready to build this Z400, man. I love you guys. Peace out.